7 members of the National Youth Service Corps who were kidnapped on their way to Port Harcourt from NYSC camp in Ondo State have been freed. Recall that a family member of one of those kidnapped told Nigerian Info that 12 Corps members were kidnapped last Tuesday along the Rumuji axis of the East-West Road in MOR local government area, but 5 were able to escape. Though the River State Police Command confirmed the kidnap, it did not, however, disclose the number of passengers that were on the bus. The man whose sister-in-law was among those kidnapped now says the remaining 7 kidnapped Corps members were freed on Sunday evening around 9 p.m. at Choba in Obiakpo local government area. He said ransom was paid before their release.
They were released on Sunday evening, then 9. Then I saw 7 persons that were released. Among them were 2 girls and 5 boys. According to all the parents that came there, I said they paid ransom. We actually paid. Horrible condition. They were like they robbed them in the mud. If you see their bodies, they were beaten by all these other soundfly mosquitoes in the bush. They went to report themselves to the station where it happened, and they took their statement and to see that they can get their belongings.
The River State Police Command is yet to confirm their release, but recall that a statement by the police spokesperson Grace Oringe Koko said the Commissioner of Police Okun Effiong deployed a tactical team to the area to ensure the safe release of the remaining Corps members. A woman, Augusta Duru, is calling for the release of her brother who has spent 3 months in captivity. Ms. Duru said her brother, Victor Ekene Duru, a 41-year-old father of 3, was kidnapped on February 19 on his way home in Omoku, Ogba Egba, Indoni, local government area of River State. Ms. Duru said the family, despite paying ransom of close to 2 million naira, are yet to see their brother.
Ekene Duru was kidnapped in Omo by February 19, 2023. After 2 days, somebody contacted us through phone with an unknown number, and they said they are the one holding Ekene captive. And we heard my brother's voice. We were asked to pay a ransom, 1.8, which we paid that day, with the hope that they are going to release him. Since then till now, he has not been released. My younger sister, Uju Duru, contacted the DPO at Omo police station. So since then, we've not heard anything. They've not called us. The chiefs, the youth, nobody have said anything about him being kidnapped.
Ms. Duru is now calling on relevant authorities to help the family secure the release of her brother. She said the matter has been reported to the police in Omok.
He has a filling station where he sells fuel, and he's also an independent marketer. I'm asking that the police, let them search for him who have not seen him. The king of Obaland, let them say something. Let them bring him out. Let them look for him. This is a boy that nobody in Omok that don't know him. Akara rider, the keke, market women, everybody.
The River State Police Command is yet to speak on this. In another development, a Chief Magistrate Court in Lagos State has dismissed an application by the Nigerian Police Force seeking to arraign Afrobeat singer Seun Kuti over alleged assault on a police officer. Magistrate Adeola Olatunbo Shun adjourned till July 3 to await legal advice from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions (DPP) on the matter. The musician was in court today for the hearing of this case. He was released on bail on Tuesday evening following his detention at the State Criminal Investigative Department, PANTI, since 15th of May. Moving on, a bill seeking to compensate victims of the End SARS protest today passed second reading at the Senate. The bill, entitled A Bill for an Act to Amend the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) Act, was sponsored by Senator Bassi Jeshom. Senator Bassi is the lead debate. In his lead debate, said the bill seeks to provide for the establishment of the End SARS Victims Compensation Fund. He said the findings of the judicial panels of inquiry and the Senate Joint Committee on End SARS revealed the killing of protesters, destruction of private and public properties by hoodlums who seized and took over the protests, destroyed and looted valuable assets. According to him, the victims have been left to continually groan under the pains of injury inflicted by the hoodlums during the End SARS protest. The federal government says it is worried about the high spate of cybercrimes in the country, describing it as an emerging threat to national security. It follows the flag-off of the first national consultation on the cybercrimes legal framework by the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. Mr. Malami said there was a need for the country to strengthen its legal arsenal against cyber criminals. Away from that, President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday failed to dissolve his cabinet today. Many had expected that the president will dissolve his cabinet at the valedictory Federal Executive Council meeting, which he chaired in Abuja today. However, the president instead directed his ministers to return to their offices and continue work. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed made this known at a briefing shortly after the FEC valedictory session.
And we should all go back and return to our offices. So it is not true that the President Council has been dissolved. It's still very much alive. Thank you very much.
In other news, the Lagos State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has dismissed the petitions filed by the Allied People's Movement APM and Action People's Party APP against the election of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy Obafemi Amzat. The chairman of the three-man tribunal, Justice Arum Ashom, dismissed the petition after the petitioners withdrew them. The governor of Gombe State, Muhammadu Inuwa, has been elected as the chairman of the Northern States Governors Forum. The governor was unanimously elected by the 19 northern governors during their forum's meeting in Abuja. He takes over from Governor Simon Bako Lalong of Plateau State with effect from 29th May. Still ahead, CBN increases interest rate. Stay tuned as we go for a quick break.
Even if it does expire, nobody can carry them go. Get now, is it working? Are they doing what they are supposed to do? That's a problem. Since they born me, I never hear say goods expire and carry the people. This social agency or company, they face law. Never hear. All those things supposed to be people part of the regulatory body. And then supposed to checkmate all those things. But since they need to do their work, so the manufacturers or the ones say people they do, and then people take them as their own privilege. No, but I myself, personally, as an individual, I must check to make sure say I get the date. Government have to take a decisive measure to make sure they do not injure the health of citizens. I'm not aware of them, but if that agencies are around, they're supposed to checkmate it. It is for the health of the individual.
Reacting to this, the South-South Zonal Coordinator FCCPC, Garba Ahmed, said writing expiry dates in an ineligible way is not a violation of the law. Mr. Ahmed, however, added that the agency will take deliberate steps to advise manufacturers against it.
As far as we are also raising it now, I think we are going to work towards it too, to ensure that all those labeling that are then tying it for consumers to be able to read on it are corrected. So in essence, I won't say it's a deliberate act and maybe a violation of the law on labeling. Because if those things are missing here, then you can say that is a complete violation of the law, and the law can take its course. But it's a compliance to the substantial part of the law that says you must present a labeling requirement credible to the consumers.
The FCCPC was established by Act of the National Assembly in 2018 to, among other things, facilitate access by all citizens to safe products and secure the protection of rights for all consumers in Nigeria. The House of Representatives is calling for a forensic audit of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) aimed at unraveling the discrepancies in importation and supply of petrol from 2015 to date. The House reached the resolution after considering the report of its ad hoc committee on fuel consumption. In business, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria today unanimously voted to increase its monetary policy interest rates to 18.5%. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, made this known while reading the communique of the third MPC meeting of the year. He said the current trend in price development will continue to be monitored by the bank and will collaborate with fiscal authority to address the drivers of inflation. Justifying the rising inflation rate, the MPC blamed the high energy cost and challenges around the supply chain, among others, which are beyond the reach of the CBN. In entertainment, Afrobeat star Davido says marrying Chioma is the best decision he has ever made. In a recent interview, the award-winning singer spoke about the key to happiness in finding a partner and how meeting his wife almost 2 decades ago was a stroke of fate. In sports, Crystal Palace midfielder Eberechi Eze has been called up to the England squad for the first time for next month's Euro 2024 qualifiers.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
On the foreign scene now, one of Algeria's best-known opposition leaders, Karim Tabao, has been detained by the authorities for unknown reasons. Mr. Tabao has become one of the most recognizable faces during mass pro-democracy rallies organized by the Iraq movement. He is reported to have been arrested in a suburb of Algiers on Tuesday. Iraq protesters who forced long-term President Abdulaziz Bouteflika to step down in 2019 are demanding a sweeping overhaul of the country's system of governance. On the news this evening, you heard kidnapped NYC members have been freed after 8 days in captivity. A woman is calling for the release of her brother who was kidnapped 3 months ago. A magistrate court has dismissed the police bid to arraign Afrobeat musician Seun Kuti. A bill to compensate victims of NSAR's past second reading at the Senate today. President Buhari has failed to dissolve his cabinet. On the foreign scene, prominent Algerian opposition leader has been detained. The news was edited by Martha Okere in Kem. Rain expected in Port Harcourt this evening. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I am Kala Dakuru Batabo. Good evening. Conversations continue after the break. Stay tuned.